Hello everyone, welcome back to Sun and Fun 51, where we're having more fun in 51. I'm Ben Coleman, one of your hosts here for the Florida Aviation Network, coming to you live and in the clear from Central Florida Aerospace Academy. This is Sun and Fun 51, and this is 2025, and we're having a ball. Meeting a lot of very, very key people in aviation, and these key people are sharing with us how to get the non-key people to be up into there and fill their shoes when they leave. We need some shoe fillers. Say that fast 3 times. And we have with us today someone that's going to share with us what he has done and his crew. It's not just him. He's got it takes a village to raise a Brandon. I just made that up. That was so cute. Brandon.
Ben, nice to see you.
Good to see you too, sir. Again. Always. Last year we had a good time.
Oh, yes.
And we're going to talk about what you have accomplished since that time. You're out of the Central Florida area, and you have a pretty dynamic flight school going on up in the Orlando area. And tell us a little bit more, Brandon, about what's going on. And I think you're helping some owners of their aircraft how to manage their aircraft.
I do. So for several years now, I've owned Premier Flight Solutions out of Orlando Executive Airport, and we've always specialized in 3 things: aircraft management, providing professional pilot services, and providing advanced flight training. And then about 2 years ago, we went out on a limb and added Part 135 charter to our umbrella as well.
And how's that worked out for you?
It's been very well. It's been very well. Aircraft management has kind of become the biggest part of our business. We've been working with a lot of new aircraft owners and a lot of people that want to get into the airplane ownership market for the first time. You know, it's a bear. There's a lot going on. They don't really know what to expect. It's a little different than owning a car, as you know. So we've really created a service that caters to those new aircraft owners as to help look after the airplane and guide them, mentor them as to how do we actually own one of these things and make sure it's in legal compliance.
Brandon, I'm very, very curious. I'm going to ask you a kind of a rhetorical question. Are people aware of the financial responsibilities involved with owning and operating an aircraft?
Most of the time, the answer to that question is no. It's a lot different than buying a car. For example, you buy a car for X amount of dollars, and usually the bulk of your expenses will end there, assuming, of course, that we're buying a new car. But owning an airplane, owning a boat, owning an RV, those things are a little bit different. It takes money to ensure airworthiness. It takes money to keep these things flying in a safe manner, in which the FAA holds us to. So, unlike a car where you just go and walk off the dealership, you buy an airplane, and really for a lot of people, the expenses are just beginning. Not in a bad way, but we have inspections, and we have compliance items, and we have airworthiness directives, things like that.
Storage.
Of course.
It really breaks my heart when I see a new airplane it shows up, everybody's real happy. It's like having a new puppy or a new kitten. It's the airplane on the ramp, shiny, bright, and they let it sit out, and a couple months pass, and we need to wash the airplane. And a couple more months pass, and a year or 2 after that, and that nice shiny little object is not shiny anymore, and it's not new anymore.
That's right.
And now it's got stuff called rust and corrosion.
That's right.
Tell me about that. How do you guys combat that? And do you actually tell them, practice safe storage?
We do. Obviously, anytime we have a chance to hangar an airplane, that's going to be preferred. It's going to keep the bird out of the elements. It's going to keep the paint safe. It's going to really, make sure that we create a long-lasting asset for ourselves. But one of the conversations that I think it's very important to have with somebody entering the airplane market is from a budget perspective. What is a realistic budget? We don't want to be plain poor. We don't want to spend every penny that we have buying whatever we can buy. We got to leave ourselves a little buffer so that we can have some money to make sure that this thing is taken care of. The average hangar right now in our area in Orlando is about $1,500 a month for a single engine piston. And that's in a community hangar.
Wow.
That's a lot of money.
$1,500 per month.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So we need to make sure that we're able to fund this post-closing. So we always start with what's a realistic budget. Oh, $1 million. Is it really $1 million? Because the expense isn't going to end right there.
And it's just money. I mean, they're printing money right now. As we speak.
Can't take it with us.
Is going. But the proper planning for that has got to be a real sharp learning curve for somebody that wants to be a new aircraft owner.
That's right.
Are they ready for it? I mean, because I really haven't spoken to many people. You have, obviously, that's your business. But I haven't spoken to too many people about what to recognize as far as the impact, or like you say, $1 million. Is that too much? Not enough? I don't know. It depends on the airplane, of course. But what are you finding with some of these new owners? I mean, are they ready, or is that your job is to make them ready?
Well, most people finish their flight training and they rent for a little bit and they decide, I think I'm ready to buy my own plane. They want to take some extended trips, which are usually outside of whatever the rental market's going to dictate. They want to be away for a few weeks. They want to go across the country. So maybe it is time to look at ownership. So a lot of people have never even heard of an aircraft manager. They don't know what they do, what they are, what their purpose is. It's basically a consulting service, but it's a consulting service that's ongoing for you throughout the duration of your ownership and even then some. So, for example, somebody will come to me thinking they're ready to buy an airplane. We'll provide acquisition services. We're the ones that are finding the airplane. We're looking through the logbooks. We're saying, okay, I think these three are going to be the best fit for us to pursue. These fit within the budget. These fit within your mission. Let's look at these. And then after we close, we do things with maintenance. We make sure that all of the maintenance is complied with. We electronically track every component in that airplane and make sure that we're within the operating limits. We're not going to overfly any items, any inspections, anything like that. And then what I do that sets us apart a little bit is we kind of apply a concierge style of service to that, where, if our clients need a rental car or a hotel or anything like that, or a pilot, we will provide all of that, obviously, under Part 91. So it's really, it's a service that affords aircraft owners all the luxuries, conveniences of ownership without dealing with any of the back-end headaches.
Wow, that's a big service. What do you do for your maintenance? I mean, are you having any difficulty finding good, quality maintenance folks to take care of your airplanes?
Good quality maintenance is hard to find. That's no secret, obviously, especially on the general aviation side. The maintenance shops deal with the same battles that the smaller aviation companies deal with on the pilot side, and there's a continuing growth opportunity for people to move up towards the airlines, and it usually leaves a lot left in the general aviation market that's unfilled. Fortunately, we've got some really great relationships with several maintenance shops across the area that will work with us on a relationship-based business. Some of them are really fantastic. We use some manufacturers' maintenance facilities like Cirrus and Kissimmee, or we'll use throughout the dealer networks. Is usually where we prefer to get maintenance done. But once you find a good shop, you usually don't leave.
No, and finding a shop that has time to handle you is because some of them are backed up for months. So you really have to plan your inspections months out.
That's right.
And when things break, believe it or not,
they do. They do. So back to the new owner discussion, you buy an airplane, your annual is going to be due in December. Oh, well, let me wait until November 15th to schedule that annual. Oh, well, sorry, we can't get you in until May. Well, now what?
Airplane's down.
That's right.
Yeah. When things break, aircraft parts and components are not priced the same as automotive parts and components. I mean, we don't have a lot of the aftermarkets that you don't go to Advance Auto to get your parts.
Correct.
And some of these parts are kind of hard to find depending on the vintage of the aircraft. It sounds to me like you're dealing with more modern aircraft. What's the oldest aircraft that you guys are managing right now, year-wise?
A 1983 King Air we manage.
Okay. That's a handful. You got volumes of maintenance manuals.
We do.
And in those maintenance manuals and also the aircraft maintenance records, have you been able to learn what is a good maintenance record and what is not a good maintenance record?
I have. and I'd like to say that I've learned that the easy way, but I've learned that the hard way. Yeah. Records are integral to airplane ownership. Part of the value of hiring a professional manager, especially throughout the acquisition process, is to audit the records. I can give you a most recent example of something that I found. An oxygen bottle in an aircraft that has to be hydrostatically inspected every 5 years per a DOT regulation. Well, there's entries in the airframe logbook that say that this was inspected, but there's no entry that shows the removal and replacement of that oxygen bottle. So how do we know that was really done? And that's something that the average owner wouldn't think to look at. You know,
that's a small example.
Very
but
small.
But it's a very important example, and there's never a problem until there's a problem.
That's right.
I mean, an aircraft can fly. If aircraft's sitting on the ramp right now, it's not hurting a soul.
That's right.
But as soon as you hop in that airplane to loft, and it hurts somebody, now that's when the investigation begins.
That's right.
And the start and again, I don't like to put everything. We're all about safety here at Florida Aviation Network. I don't like to put everything associated with an accident. However, that's what we're here to prevent.
That's right.
When it happens, if we don't learn everything that we can possibly learn from that, it's a lost opportunity, and it can hurt people.
That's right.
So when you get involved with these records, have you ever been contacted to do a pre-purchase or a pre-buy inspection?
I don't conduct them myself, but I've been contacted to assist in the pre-buy process absolutely all the time.
Drives me nuts when I hear somebody say, "Can you do a pre-buy on this airplane?" The annual's not due for another couple months, and the current owner has offered to put an annual in with the deal. What kind of annual think that's going to be? Because they're going to go to someone and say, "Look, I'm just trying to move the airplane, just make sure it meets the minimum standards of being airworthy." Well, that's it. That is I'm going to try to keep it clean here, Brandon. I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to have anything you have to edit out, guys. But that is BS.
It is. It is. You should always have an independent third party conduct an annual inspection, somebody who doesn't know the airplane, somebody who's not partial to the seller. You want to make sure that that thing is done the right way at a reputable shop.
A pre-buy, as far as in my lingo, there's no such thing as a pre-buy. It's an inspection.
That's right.
Let's call it an annual inspection.
That's right.
Well, let's just call it a 100-hour inspection. Well, it's the same inspection.
That's right.
Okay? So who's fooling who? And people have been led down the wrong path for a long time. And it's really a pleasure to know that there's outfits like you out there that are waving a flag, and everybody goes back to the FAA. The FAA requires this. The FAA sets standards. We require what is done to meet that standard.
That's right.
So the FAA don't maintain airplanes.
That's right. And you have to remember, the manufacturer sets these time life limits for components for a reason. It's not for fun. It's because after that amount of time, something is probably going to fail, and it needs to be inspected or replaced.
You mean the manufacturer don't do that just to try and make more money and sell more parts?
Well, we like to think that they don't. We know that they don't.
Nah.
It's all in the interest of safety.
It is, and it is costly, and there's some parts that come off of the aircraft that are timed out or calendared out, and they're really still good parts. However, not for that airplane.
That's right.
And there's a lot of different things you can do with them. Give them to a school.
That's right.
Tag them, mark them, let it know. Are you familiar with the suspected unapproved parts program?
I'm not.
It's
and I'm sure most aren't.
They're not. But it's if you just look at SUPs, suspected unapproved parts, there's a lot of knockoffs out there and people that are trying to make money the wrong way, and it's something to be aware of. But anyway, tell us more about what's going on. I know you're in the 135. Your maintenance, you're learning a lot about maintenance. When you get your A&P?
I would absolutely love to get my A&P. My office in Orlando is inside of a wonderful maintenance shop, and I can walk downstairs anytime I want and see what's going on with the guys out on the floor. But like most people, the one thing that I can't seem to find is the time to do it.
That precious commodity called time.
I could do it.
Yeah.
Yes, I would love to. Since entering the 135 world, that has taught me a lot, particularly in terms of maintenance. as to what is really the difference between 91 and 135 maintenance. And it's been a very valuable lesson for me, because I can take that now and apply that to all of the 91 aircraft that we manage. But 135 is a completely different animal, a completely different animal, especially in terms of the maintenance.
Yeah.
You know, all of these service bulletins, the mandatory service bulletins and manufacturers' recommendations and things that don't really apply under Part 91, those are no longer an option. You have to comply with these. And the FAA cares greatly about members of the general public paying to be on board somebody's aircraft. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is understanding a 135 operator, a real 135 operator, versus what you've probably known as a 134 and a half or illegal charter operation.
I know some 134.9.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
They do it really, really almost
sure
a
you
perfect
do.
job.
That's right.
Almost is not good enough.
That's right. It's not good enough. No. So a 135 aircraft really is different from a 91 aircraft. I mean, there's no stone left unturned in terms of maintenance, and that's very important when you have members of the public being on that airplane.
And Brandon, as we sit here, there's a lot of folks that might be listening to this that have no clue what we're talking about, difference between a 91 and a 135. Right. Not a clue. And it's that's understandable, because it's not a very easy concept to wrap your head around. However, the 135, there's some aircraft that the first thing, back in the day, back when I had hair, and someone would come to me and say, I want to put our aircraft on 135. Has it ever been on a 135? No. How many years old is this aircraft? That's right. It's only 20 years old. Okay, we got a problem. It's an opportunity, but if you've got the money and the time and the talent, you can take this Part 91 aircraft and put it into 135. However, you have to go through the records, and if you can't prove that this part here was replaced when it was supposed to be replaced for 135 standard by the parts by the manufacturer's service bulletin, you got to replace it.
That's right.
It could have 5 hours on it, but if you can't prove, you got to replace it.
The most common example I see with that is people that ask me about putting their aircraft on a charter certificate. I go straight to the engine. Got a beautiful, let's say a 2015 aircraft, and let's go 2010 because we're in 2025 now. 15 years.
Okay.
Beautiful 2010 aircraft. It's got 500 hours on the airframe, 500 hours on the engine. Great. Engine's got 2,000 hours until TBO, time between overhaul. But most people fail to realize there's also a calendar year limit associated with the hours. So it's 2,000 hours or 12 years. Well, that's no longer a recommendation under Part 135. That engine is being overhauled if we're going to operate this aircraft for hire.
Like it or not, and there's no monetary reason that they can't do that.
That's right.
It takes money.
It takes a lot of money.
It takes time. It takes, and it's not just any shop. There's some shops, and it really, when you do shopping, that's tough. Because, I mean, a Matatuck overhaul is different than a T.W. Smith overhaul.
Yes.
Brandon, we have just scratched the surface of this very, very important subject.
Yes.
How do we find more information? How do we drive people to you? Because you really are the mouthpiece for, I'd say, the industry for what you're doing. And it's critical that we get this information to as many people as wide as we can. And those 5 million people that we're talking to behind that tally light right there, they need to have an outlet that, rather than just, I mean, you can go to YouTube, you can overhaul a Swiss watch on YouTube, and they will send you for aircraft maintenance specials on YouTube. However, how do we get to you?
You can find me online at www.premierflightsolutions.com, or you can come and visit me at Orlando Executive Airport. Or if you really want to see me, you can stop by booth C62 in Hangar C. We're exhibiting this year.
Here at Sun and Fun.
That's right.
51.
5-1.
And what are you going to be doing the rest of the day, Brandon?
I am going back to the booth, and I am going to go talk about my charter company.
Excellent. Well, I thought I heard a P-51 start a little while ago. Undistinct. You just can't. You have to stop when you hear a Mustang fly.
Well, we can go watch that instead.
Yeah, we can watch that on TV. I'd rather go back to your booth and start talking about parts and,
That's fine.
and stuff.
Come and join me.
We really enjoy having folks of your caliber and what you have accomplished.
Well, thank you.
And I don't even see any gray hair yet.
Ask my wife. She'll point out every one I've got.
But we do. I call you one of the young and up and coming.
Well, thank you.
Someday you're not. Someday you're going to be gray and bald, and we want to have you regurgitate back what we're talking about right here, right now, because we're going to be doing it again.
Well, the pleasure would be all mine.
Brandon,
Thank you, Ben.
thank you so
Great to
much
see
for
you.
being here with
Yep.
us. Okay, we're going to go about and that's a Merlin. I just heard a Merlin start up. We're out of here. We'll see you next interview.